What up, MJ here? Looking at some word problems for fractions, because there will be two on the test. So addition, subtraction, I think you guys are pretty good at recognizing those, so I'm not really going to talk about them. Anytime it's like, you're taking this much of something and then you're putting it with, that's going to be addition, right? You're taking some of this and you're getting rid of, that's going to be subtraction. So I think we're good there. Of is the key for multiplication, okay? So like I say in this jibba jabba here, it's hard to think of many division. We'll look at a couple division questions in a second here, but multiplication is much more common. Whenever you're taking part of something, okay? So whenever you see that of word, that's a keyword that you're looking at multiplication. Because when we talked about multiplying fractions, we talked about using the word of, right? So when we have, if we have half times 2/3, we're talking about how that is the same. Well, it is half of 2/3, right? Half of. We're actually replacing the times or multiplied by or whatever you want to say. We're actually going to use the term of there, okay? So of is the keyword. So whenever you see of, you're going to know it's multiplication, okay? So cooking is an example. Okay, so Berkey's got type 1 diabetes, so we have to match her insulin with her sugars, right? That's what keeping her healthy. So we gotta do all the math. We gotta count all those things up. She's got a ratio. It's all math, okay? So like my example here says that there are 15 carbs and 3/4 a cup of Kraft Dinner. And I know she's not going to eat 3/4 of a cup of Kraft Dinner, but she'll probably eat a third of that 3/4. Okay, that's a multiplication question. 3/4 times 1/3. 1/3 of 3/4. Doesn't matter which way you put those two numbers in multiplication, right? So that would be a perfect example of when we would use multiplication. Okay, so look for that of word. That's your surefire sign that you're going to be multiplying. Okay, so I think that's pretty easy to come up with examples, and cooking is always the big one for sure for multiplication of fractions. Okay, word problems. Now division is trickier, like I say here, because you're looking at how many parts usually are inside another part, right? It's like how many 1/5 are inside 1/2. Like it's kind of harder to think about a real life sort of scenario. So I've got two that we'll look at together right now. Okay, so here's two. So first example, MJ had 4/5 of a liter of paint to paint his main hall. Okay, so you can buy gallons, which is like much smaller. You can buy liters. So let's say this is my 1 liter bucket. Okay, and I've already used a bit of it, so it's sitting about here. Okay, so it's sitting at 4/5 of a liter full. Okay, of paint. And I'm going to paint my main hall. And of course, me being me, I'm lazy. So I've got my wife helping me. I got my kids helping me. I even get my dog to help me if he was any good at it. So I'm pouring out that paint into other containers so that, many hands make light work, that old saying. So I got these containers, and each of these containers are going to fill or hold 1/4 of a liter. And I need to know how many containers, whoa, I went dark there, how many containers I can get, okay? So basically what I'm saying is, like, how many times can I get 1/4 of a liter out of this 4/5? So like I'm going to take a little bit and that's going to be a quarter. I'm going to take a little bit more and that's going to be a quarter. I'm trying to find out how many quarters fit inside 4/5, okay? So if I'm writing this out as a division question, it starts as 4/5 because that's the start of the story. The start of the story is I've got 4/5 of a liter, okay? And then I'm dividing that up into quarter liter parts. So I'm trying to say, how many quarters fit inside a 4/5? And it's hard to draw into the bucket, so that's why we're going to use an array for this question, okay? So let's do it. Let's build the array. Let's build it up here where there's a little room. So how many 1/4s fit inside a 4/5? So like we did in class, I'm going to build my box. I'm so bad at drawing with a mouse, so sorry, y'all. And I'm going to split it into fifths and fourths. I'll go fourths vertically. Oh man, that's actually pretty straight lines for me. I'm impressed. And I'm going to go fifths this way. So 1, 2, 3, and then fourths and fifths, or fourths and fifths. Okay, let's switch colors. So start of the story, we have 4/5. So my fifths went this way. So this would be 1/5, 2/5, right? 2 of the 5 are full. 3 out of the 5, 3/5. Oh God, sorry. And 4/5. Okay, so there's the start of the story. We had 4/5. We got 4/5. Okay, And now I'm saying how many quarters fit in there. So this would be 1/4. 1 out of 4 would be this way. Okay, and that's not quite full because this dot is not there. Like this box is not represented. So I'm going to take this dot, get rid of it, and I'm going to move it over there. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing over here. And I'm going to do the same thing over here. Okay, so now I've got 1/4 once. I got 1/4 twice. I got 1/4 a third time, and I got a little bit left over. So my answer is that I can fill 3 buckets all the way. Okay, I'm going to undo that because that 3 being small is weirding me out. Okay, I can fill 3 whole buckets, 3/4 buckets. Okay, and I got a little bit left over. How much left over? Well, 1. And if I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 parts, I'd have another, but I've only got 1 of those 5 I required. So how many containers can I fill? The answer is 3. And I'd have a little bit left over. How much left over? 1/5. Okay, so that's the array model. It's a visual model. It clearly shows me how many times I can fill 1/4 buckets out of a 4/5 bucket. Okay, so that's an example of a division question. Okay, some kids might be thrown off by the fact that the word of is here, but it's just talking about like that I've got some amount of paint. It's not talking about that I've got 1/4 of 4/5, right? That would be multiplication. But this one is definitely a division question. Okay, let's look at the next one. Let's get rid of all this junk. Tag, that's my dog. Tag is pounding dog food like a champ. MJ sees he has about 5/8 of the bag left. Tag, who is the best boy ever, eats 1/20th. Of course, some kids knocking on the door, ruining my video. I'm just gonna let them. They're in music. Too bad. So I've got 5/8 of the bag, and he eats 1/20th of the bag every day. Okay. This one I'm not going to build an array out of just because I'm dealing with 8ths and 20ths, and I don't want to draw that much. So for this one, we're going to use, the boring, uninteresting sort of a trick way, but let's do it anyways. So start of the story, I've got 5/8 of the bag. Okay, and we're talking about he's eating 1/20th of the bag each day. So we're looking at how many times can we get 1/20th of the bag out of that 5/8 of the bag. We're looking at how many times this fits in this, okay? And again, I'm not going to draw the thing there, so you either call it, keep, flip, switch, or whatever, or you just talk about invert and multiply. But let's knock that out really quick. Okay, 20 over 1, and we're left with 100/8. Okay? And if you want to convert that into a whole number, you could just do that in a calculator, or you could just count it up yourself. But yeah, so how many days are left? In this case, we would need an actual number of days. So saying that 100 out of 8 days is not a good enough answer. So we would need to do the division here. And we could just, bust out a calculator. Hopefully no one's broken the keys off of it. And we could just say, what is 100 divided by 8? Because remember, a fraction is literally just a division question written a different way. So the answer here is 12.5. Okay, I got 12.5 in my calculator. I'm happy with that. Happy with that. It doesn't matter. The actual answer to the question is we got 12 days left, right? Before we need to buy a new bag of dog food. Okay. So there you go. 2 division questions, how to solve them, and sort of, I guess, clues to what would be multiplication, what could be division. All right. Peace out.